Hey there, Max here, and today we're going to be reacting to a new channel here. It is going to be Royalty is Here, and we're going to be starting with the most infamous VTubers. As someone who did kind of start off wanting to be a VTuber, and every now and then you might even be able to take a look at my model who pops up here, I thought that this would be a very interesting look. Funny enough, don't know that much about a lot of other VTubers or streamers, and only a few that I might have heard a good amount of rumors about, and of course the big ones like Iron Mouse, Shy Lily, Bow, those ones and such. And as far as drama goes, one most infamous one I could think of would be Cinder, and then there was one that was a lot more recent. I forget their name, but yeah. I know that VTubers, just like any other streamers, have their ups and definitely downs, just like anybody else. So, let's take a look and see what Royalty is Here has got to say about some infamous VTubers. And we'll leave a link to the original in the description. If you enjoy, please do leave a like. If you have anything you'd like me to react towards, please do leave it in the comments. And please do subscribe to follow along more and help me build my community. Let's go! Royalty is Here. Show us what you got.
VTubers. You know, the anime-looking things that come in many forms, of there being a VTuber based on almost every animal, every mythical beast, and now apparently every food item, in which
would iDubbbz now be considered an infamous VTuber?
it is still being debated if these so-called food tubers count as actual VTubers.
Technically they count in my books.
And if that is true, that means that the first ever VTuber was the annoying orange.
You know, you're not wrong, unfortunately.
So do with that information what you will. But it's been some time since I've spoken about VTubers. I've been off this black tar heroin for months now, and it's time to relapse again. Yes, it's time to talk about the virtual content creators where most female avatars in the space have proportions that either
Dear God!
defy the laws of physics or look like something straight out of my 300-pound life.
And I think in my most defining attributes is that I have a very nice scarf and a hat.
Life, where most of the calories are predominantly stored in their chest. It's getting to the point now where I'm beginning to wonder if these VTubers are taking a page out of a specific type of fairies book.
That actually goes kind of hard though. I like that.
And stereotypically, they are very
No comment.
insistent they don't have a significant other, which is a tale as old as time. Oh, that male voice you heard in the background? That didn't happen, that was just you hallucinating. Now make sure your copium supplies are stocked up for tonight's stream.
Oh man, that reminds me of that whole playthrough of Half-Life I did just a few months ago.
And make sure you've done your homework on the fan-made VTubing ovulation track.
Oh, I remember Berry Crepe.
Which
I've seen a bunch of her stuff.
created based on the offhand comments the VTubers had made, which helped them
Oh god, the O tracker. Oh dear god.
calculate the exact day that VTuber had their period.
I posted tweets of me saying, ow, my tummy hurts, tummy hurt. Guys, that is me preeing a fat dookie. Like, that is me preeing a dump.
Note to self, do not piss off a VTuber fan or I might be involuntarily added to the male fertility tracker. But VTubing has come a long
Listen, if they're anything like K-pop stans, we're in trouble.
way since it first started. From what most thought initially would have been a passing trend.
I remember this one, Kaizuna AI. Okay, I actually did think that they were an AI. I know their theme was that they were an AI, but I literally thought they were an AI in the beginning. Listen, it was its infancy. I didn't know what the heck was going on.
Trend to in the current day cementing itself on the internet as a genre of content that is here to stay. And it's easier than ever to become a VTuber if you can afford the price of a down payment on a house, if you want a decent model. It's almost got to the point where they are putting the fairies to shame with these prices. And
Honestly, get something cheap. It is way too saturated. You're not gonna be explained. Just do what you can. Get whatever audience you can, and then go for the bigger stuff. Don't try to waste money on like $10,000 models like some of the big pros. You're not there yet. Get an audience first.
that's probably because with VTubing being so popular now, it's also led to a rise in things related to it, like the price of commissions, and things like controversies, probably due to there being so many VTubers now and such a variety of personalities, to say the least.
And they're all very, very... Oh dear God. They're all very, very competitive.
No.
No.
Listen up, Nick.
No.
Bridging.
No. 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 No.
OpenAI said.
No.
So let me explain how Nick changed
No.
Into strategic reserve. On-chain. Hyperbridge protocol.
Is this a joke? No.
But with there being so many VTubers
I sense a theme in that particular video Pippa was watching.
now, and it being more accessible than ever, essentially meaning almost anyone can become a VTuber nowadays, and because of this it would
Listen, if I can become a VTuber, pretty much anybody can become a VTuber.
only be natural for controversies to occur within the space, and there has been quite a lot just these past few years alone. From VTubers having quarrels with their own communities, to an entire library's worth of Google Docs being published exposing other VTubers.
Gee, I wonder who this could possibly be about.
I'm still hoping one day we move away from Google Docs and format exposes in
You know, Worldy, you're technically a VTuber too, you know.
Excel spreadsheets instead, to major corporations built around VTubing crumbling to the ground. But today I wanted to look at some VTubers that behind the guise of an avatar said or did some things that either destroyed the platform they had, or after everything was said and done, their name would only be regarded with infamy, or in one case would end with someone being arrested.
Oh, dang, and wait. Is that what is the word I'm looking for? Is that a Grox on the table there, right next to the Pepsi bottle, if we're gonna say that? Is that a Grox from Spore? Jesus, that's a pull.
But who
I think it's called a Grox. I can't forget. It was forgotten. But that's definitely that little evil guy from Spore.
are these VTubers and what did they do?
Have you ever stopped to think of those cute and quirky VTubers?
Oh, when I saw Cha-Cha, I thought it was Cha-Cha, the very nice artist one who was kind of the artist mother for quite a few other people. That is not who this is. I know this one. This is bad.
You watch might be more than just entertaining digital personalities? What if I told you they're actually part of a government conspiracy to convince the public that women are real?
So obviously
Oh, come on. Everyone knows women are not real.
we are going to start with a gentle pegging and then slowly work our way up,
Why do you have to put it like that?
with the first VTuber on this list possibly being the most tame in comparison to the others. Cha-Cha Chilla is a small self-proclaimed princess VTuber that has the appearance of a chinchilla, which is like a fat rat. But even though they were small in size, they would cause a drama that would blow up and make their name known throughout the internet, all down to, in my opinion, the most petty reason.
Usually is.
And looking at their track record, it might be safe to say they are the Amber Heard of VTubing.
That's an insult right there.
So around November 2025, there was a Minecraft server known as the SVASMP,
Okay, now it's all coming a little bit more back to me.
named after the SOX agency, which is a VTubing agency with multiple talents.
Shimbo!
But despite not being a part of the agency, Cha-Cha and a bunch of other VTubers were welcome to join the server. And the server was known to be heavily roleplay orientated, where the VTubers would take on characters and interact with each other as said characters.
To be fair, some people might take it a little far, but then some people will take that farness and kind of escalate it even further.
Think of it like a more casual version of GTA RP.
Well, I do miss you.
Miss you too, baby, but yeah.
Okay. I hope it's not too long, because I don't want to wait too long to have sex.
It's gonna be 7 days.
7 days?
Things on the Minecraft server were rather peaceful. It was just a bunch of big and small VTubers role-playing and having fun. But obviously, things wouldn't be that way for long. On the 18th of November, Chilla would make a public tweet they would later delete, calling out the SOX VTuber agency and members of the agency such as Flock and Ad3, claiming that these parties were essentially endorsing ableism and making light of her disability, and she would attach a 3-second clip to that tweet where there was a role-playing event months prior to this involving a team going against another team, and one of the members of the team going against Cha-Cha Chilla's team referred to them as inferior.
The first like 2 minutes.
They're inferior, we're just better. That's what they're saying there.
Cha-Cha
I mean, if it's team versus team, like, that's just trash talk. I get where you're coming from a little bit, but come on, this kind of banter goes back and forth all the time when it comes against team versus team stuff. But if I recall, Cha-Cha Chilla is one of those people who kind of escalate things quite a bit And it's kind of known for it, if I'm understanding right.
Also claimed that when she tried to talk about this to Flork, he would block her and tell her not to bring up personal issues with his talent. Now immediately off rip, people were not on her side, and that post would actually get quickly community noted, saying she was wrong. Because not only was this event months ago and she was only bringing this up now, but it was also a bit of a stretch to call people ableist for saying this and assuming she was the one targeted out of everyone else on her team. Eventually Flork, one of the people called out in the post, would respond, saying they already spoke about this, a group actually reviewed this claim and found no wrong.
And look at that first part. Yes, I did snap at you in DMs because you were told not to contact me anymore prior to this. AKA, she brought this up before, it seems.
And he had already told her not to contact him anymore. She would then respond to this saying, actually, you didn't tell me to stop messaging you, and then leaks DMs showing messages that clearly show him saying he was uncomfortable talking to her.
Wow. Yeah, okay. I'm starting to get a few more reminders about what happened here.
And all, people just thought she was bringing this up for no reason or to simply cause drama or be a victim, especially after the situation was looked at and reviewed months ago. But apparently it's not the only time she did something like this, because they apparently had multiple VTubing personas. When they were first Nyan Cherise, they apparently did the same thing there and was claimed to harass people. Then they moved on to Bunny Alisu, which had even worse allegations like doxing and revenge porn. And after all of that, they eventually became Cha Cha Chiller. But by this point, nobody believed Cha Cha, and she would apologize. She then claims she's going to the hospital.
This is the thing I really remembered. Oh my god. Okay, this wasn't her. Someone else recognized the picture and called her out. Hey, this is actually me in this picture. Get rid of it. Oh, that was sick.
Providing a picture of which many would claim was fake, and she wouldn't provide verification when asked. She then goes on to try and prove that the people making accusations about her previous personas, specifically the VTuber Apollo, claiming they are lying, but with all the screenshots provided, some were thought to be fake. To this day, months later, she is still claiming to be a victim, still talking about the situation, and still obtaining community notes like they were on a fire sale.
My advice to you, Cha-Cha, if you are hearing this, just, I don't know if things are still going on fire sale on over there, but all you can really do is just apologize and shut up and don't do it again. Because you've already done it multiple times already, and everyone's pissed off at you. The best thing you can possibly do is to get out of a hole, is to stop digging. That's the first step. Gunpie.
You're my little
So Gunpie is a name that is somewhat well known within the VTuber community, but not for a good reason. She's someone we spoke about before, like a year ago, but obviously things got a lot worse since then, like a lot worse.
I think I remember who this one is. Barely? At least it sounds familiar. But oh god, if things got worse since the time I heard about it, oh boy.
But if you don't know, Gunpie was a VTuber that was just a bit unhinged.
I hate streaming. I hate streaming and VTubing. I hate VTubers. VTubers have ruined my life. Every unfunny female VTuber who replies to my tweets deserves to get by a sledgehammer. I'm gonna buy a sledgehammer on Temu. I'll make sure it's wrapped in microplastics, and I will wrap that sledgehammer around it. I will fuck them.
Jesus, how long was that rant for?
You're my little
Gunpie was a dog VTuber that debuted in September of 2024, and she quite quickly developed a loyal following, primarily because her content was made up of two things. One, she was a so-called girl failure with a mental illness.
Okay, I know that this is a bit of a popular theme these days. I know a few that are kind of put just like this, because it kind of gives that vulnerable thing where people, like, really... It gives them, like, this vulnerable adage that kind of makes people want to come up and fix them, kind of thing. Although it does kind of open themselves up a lot to these parasocial types.
Which was probably attractive to her audience at the time because they thought they could fix her or they related to her. And two, her content focused on the so-called girlfriend experience, which
Ugh. I never liked that particular term.
Is a term mainly used in the adult industry, but in the streaming space it often translates to the streamer farming a parasocial relationship with their audience like they are dating them.
I'm rubbing my tummy. Do you hear it? Do you hear it? I'm rubbing my tummy.
Fucking internet.
But the result of this is
Right.
often the streamer being showered with gifts by their audience because the streamer is directly feeding into the illusion that they share some form of relationship even though the viewer probably knows nothing about the personal life of said streamer. And Gunpei played into this hard, like too hard. She heavily insisted that she was actually dating her viewers to the extent that if they were talking to any other female or had a relationship, they were cheating on her.
Jesus, this one's crazy.
And they were not even allowed to speak about any other females in things like her Discord. She also took tributes from her fans.
Cash prizes, I'm sure.
By tributes, I don't mean money or items of value, I mean things like cum tributes. Which is where, you know what, I'm not even going to explain this, go f*** yourself. On her Tumblr page that
You know, funny enough, I think that just explains it plenty enough.
has now been deleted, you can find under her commonly asked questions a line saying her fans can send her anything, and I mean anything, including intimate pictures with examples like peni pics and said tributes, and she was more than happy to receive them, even saying she was going to archive them.
That tells me it's more of a blackmail thing for later on. It's like, oh, did you sent me all this stuff? Oh, you suddenly did something I don't like? Hey, how about I spread this all over the internet all of a sudden? Hey, how about you pay me more or you watch me more? Hey, don't go over to that person. Things like that. I feel like that is kind of the way there. Either that or they're just completely insane.
You know, to each their own, someone out there is probably happy their favourite VTuber or Oshi has a picture of their cocktail sausage somewhere on their SSD. But
No.
funny enough, this wasn't what made her so controversial in the space. And I would argue that in some communities like VTubing, this type of behaviour isn't rare, so it didn't ring any alarm bells initially. But
Yeah, it's freaky, but come on, it's the internet.
the thing that actually did make her known to the wider internet was in November of 2024, when a person was doing a commission for a fan of hers making a plushie of her VTuber model, and they had leftover material, so they asked if anyone else wanted one for a price.
Okay, I think now this is starting to come back to me about what's going on with this here. And she got really pissed off about, like, the models, not, like, I don't know what happened, but I think she was very upset that they were doing anything with extra models from them.
And Gunpei saw this and got very angry, thinking this person was using her brand to make a profit and she was getting nothing out of it. Which also led to a number of public tweets shitting on the person and where they come from, but a lot of people were actually on the side of the person who made the plushie, including bigger VTubers. And the tide quickly turned against Gunpei, leading to her crashing out even more. This is the situation that put her on everyone's radar, and it wouldn't make much of an impact on her streaming career. She would go MIA for a bit, but when she came back, she still had an audience waiting for her, probably with a show and tell of their latest tribute they made after saving up for a week. But
Oh dear God, why'd you have to make me picture that kind of nastiness?
if she could get away with this in the comments she made, it almost looked like she could get away with anything.
I mean, in her own little realm, I don't think anybody in her side of the woods actually cared.
Any offhand comment, any racial remark, because her community was loyal and infatuated with her.
And that's all they care about, right?
Probably in their eyes, she could do no wrong. Well, until the curtains of that delusion came crashing down because Gunpei was cheating on her audience.
No!
She had an actual boyfriend. In March of 2025, a document would be dropped by a past friend of Gunpei, showing screenshots of their interactions where Gunpei is seen gloating about possibly getting into a relationship with a guy and him playing the manager role for her VTubing career. With this, female VTubers are never going to escape the manager that is actually a boyfriend accusation. There are additional screenshots shown in the document, like her on an old
Now, we all know they're not their boyfriends. They're their husbands.
saying she's falling in love with this person and that she bought him an ASMR dildo. How does that even work? But when this was made public, Gunpei was cooked. It was GG next game for this VTuber. Her audience felt absolutely betrayed, and
Because there's only one thing they really wanted from her, and now that part is gone.
she would immediately take down all her public profiles, and anything made or posted by Gunpei was wiped clean. It was rumoured that one of
I hope they disinfected afterwards too.
her fans after this actually committed, but regarding that, there's no hard evidence. There was only public tweets of them seeming distressed about her having a boyfriend, but that is one of the many unfortunate things that can happen when you feed into such an unhealthy parasocial relationship as a streamer. She did sell off her avatar for around $2,000, of which
Dang, you think anyone actually bought it?
someone actually bought it, not
Okay, so that answered my question.
to make a meme out of it, but to preserve it. And she did attempt to rebrand as another VTuber, but obviously with the reputation that followed her, that was unsuccessful.
I didn't even know she rebranded again.
I was going to go over another VTuber story here, but because it's very similar to Gunpei's, I thought I'd just combine them and go through it very quickly. The VTuber Elfin Psyop is someone that cultivated the same audience as Gunpei. She was known to be a girl failure, an alcoholic, a gooner, and having some very controversial opinions. This is one of her posts she was most known for.
I think I've heard of this one too.
Can't do it.
It's the Jews.
It's too difficult.
It's the Jews.
But it's all my fault.
It's the Jews again.
I'm sensing a pattern.
Would later get revealed she was gooning, sending NSFW pictures of herself, and had relationships with people in her audience,
Okay, yep, now those are starting to come back to me.
specifically the mods of her Discord server, with most of them not knowing the other guys existed and that she was doing the same activities with them. It was also discovered that even though she was very vocal about people that were not white, she
I'm
had
pretty sure it was the fact of, like, she really pushed, like, a racism grift kind of thing that a few groups like to use. That's usually the part I think that really got her in the hot water, I think.
herself was one of the people she preached about, and she would Photoshop her pictures to appear as white as possible and not her default skin colour, as she was originally from Pakistan and moved to the UK. It was also revealed that there were underage people in her Discord server where they would be exposed to NSFW material and Elfin would contribute to it. In response to the claim about having relationships with multiple people, she would say she was in a terrible state, they took advantage of her, and she always told them she was not a person to date people. She'd also say
Why do I get a funny feeling that's not entirely true?
she was not grooming the person in her Discord server, and then the victim would respond saying they were not groomed. And then when the NSFW pictures she sent to people privately were being circulated on the internet, she would claim at that time she was not an adult, meaning that when she was sending these files to people, she was knowingly distributing illegal material to people. However,
ooh, that's a bad thing.
but people were hesitant to believe this story at the time because it seemed like a claim she would use to get out of this whole mess. But with this, the NSFW interactions with some of her supporters, apparently even the existence of a boyfriend, and lying about her nationality while some could say preaching against it, this would all result in a lot of her diehard fans abandoning her, and she would quickly delete everything and disappear from the internet.
Yeah.
Honey, you're such a good girl. Hi, baby girl.
So this is the first male VTuber we're going to be talking about on this list, and probably the only one, because once again, in my opinion, there aren't that many male VTubers
Oh boy, this one must not have been made too recently because I know a story they could have definitely used.
compared to female. But just because there's less doesn't mean there's any shortage of controversies surrounding them. Torakaru was a VTuber
Yeah, I don't know this one.
that debuted in 2022. His design was said to be a completely normal human that cosplayed as a tiger. Now, Tora's content was kind of like the opposite of the girlfriend experience I described previously, because in his case, it was more like a boyfriend experience.
Honey?
Oh dear God.
Honey, you're such a good girl. Hi, baby girl. I would be your sugar daddy, on God, no cap, and give you everything
I'm sure there's plenty of guys who have gone into the VTuber thing trying to do this very tactic to pick up girls, I'm sure.
that I could possibly Emily. I love Emily so much.
Now, Tora would also
Anyone else feeling nasty chills from listening to that?
do
Ugh.
NSFW content and was known to act very flirty towards his viewers and other VTubers. But around his 2.0 debut, in his own words, he would attempt to separate the NSFW from his usual content and would attempt to be less flirty, even saying previously he was a lot worse in an interview.
So, starting like when I got my 2.0, I got my I started using an alt account for NSFW stuff, and on my main account, I very, very rarely am quote unquote down bad or say anything like sexual or flirty or
Press X to doubt.
stuff like that, right?
Now, you would assume that, the flirting he was doing on stream with others or with his chat, this was just an act for entertainment purposes.
We can only hope. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people in the audience that loves that kind of thing, and hey, different strokes for different folks, as they say.
Wouldn't think it was serious or how he behaved off camera. But as it turns out, that assumption would be wrong, and this type of behavior he exhibited was just the tip of the iceberg.
Why'd you have to use tip in this context?
It would actually be much worse and result in over 10 people coming out with their uncomfortable experiences with this VTuber. In March of 2024, the first of many statements regarding Tora's behavior would be released. This was made by a fellow VTuber named Lily, and in this document she would talk about her personal experience with Tora. These two
Google Ducky!
were initially well acquainted. They met through a mutual friend's Discord server, and Tora was one of the people that were there for her when she was going.
Somehow, I have no idea how these people end up coming across each other. I am one of the most biggest loners, hermits you'll ever come across. I can never meet anybody in any spaces or any friends. I don't even know how people like this keep managing to get into the laps of people.
Going through a breakup. At the time, it was stated Tora was showing some interest in Lily, but there would be problems preventing them from progressing to that point. A year after meeting, there was a discussion of a group trip to Anime Expo 2023. This included both Tora, Lily, and others. When Tora heard Lily was going to be there, he supposedly became excited and started to make advances towards Lily. This included allegedly sending unsolicited pics, requesting pictures, sexual...
Okay, this might surprise you folks. If a lady wants to see your pics, they'll ask for it. Trust me, I've learned that one. One surprisingly day. But my recommendation is not to do it unless you're asked. That's all I can say about that. Never, ever. Don't be the first one to ask for that.
Comments like how he would bit to her streams, and he made it known he wanted to do things when they met. Now, Lily did say she felt uncomfortable by these advances, but because of him previously helping her with their breakup and at the time having some feelings for him, she wouldn't outright shut down these advances. When it came to the trip, on the second day they would eventually meet, and he would allegedly state he had no interest in doing anything because there was somebody else he was interested in. This is
I'm getting some Arcanum vibes, if you know what I mean.
something she would say she was relieved to hear, but was upset that he led her on for months prior and pressured her into doing things, making it seem like he wanted her. The two at the end of the day would go to an Airbnb where her friend let the both of them stay because Lily's hotel was over an hour away, and the two of them would sleep on the couch as they were unexpected guests and there wasn't any rooms for them. Whilst trying to sleep on different ends of the couch, it's said that Tora at some point starts making unwanted advances towards Lily, kissing her on the cheek and whispering in her ear, and
okay, why and how if you're supposed to be all on the other side of the sofa?
at this point she was pinned and wanted him off.
Ugh.
Unfortunately, because of the commotion, one of the people they were staying with would come check on them, where Tora would then supposedly jump off her. The person didn't notice anything, and Tora even remarked at how creepy the person looked with the lighting and took a picture. After that night, she doesn't recount any other conversation with Tora whilst on the trip. She would confront him months later, but he allegedly brushed her off and thought she was mad because they didn't do anything. She would correct him on this, of which he apologizes and says he will be better, but he still didn't directly.
Yes, I will be better. God damn it. How many times have I ever heard that phrase from people?
address the assault. After this, she doesn't cut contact straight away, as she initially thought she was overreacting because of the way he reacted when she confronted him. Eventually she opens up to others about this and realizes she wasn't overreacting, leading to her cutting him off, cancelling collabs with him and confronting him again, where this time he does somewhat address what happened. And
it is not hard to keep it in your pants, folks.
A few weeks later after this, she would release this document, which led many others to come out with their own stories, where similar things happened to them.
Once one comes out, the rest will follow.
Love bombing, requesting personal information, talking the same way to some VTubers that were underage. He made a list of VTubers he wanted in his harem or to breed with, and even in one instance he sent a whole ASMR video to one of these girls. And before I show this to you, I have to give you a content warning because this is disturbing content, so
that goes for y'all too.
Be warned.
You're such a cutie. I want to kiss you. I love you.
Ugh. How long is
I
this?
love you, Zenith.
Okay, it's only like a minute.
You're the best.
It's only about another minute and a half to go. Hang in there, folks. Ugh.
Glad to become your friend. You're so skilled at art. And you're very cute. And very pretty. I saw your immersion bricks. You really... you really are my type.
That's exactly how I'm feeling right now, honestly.
I'm glad to get to know you a bit better. I like you. Mwah.
Kill me now.
Tara made unwanted advances.
Did you really have to include that royalty? Really?
To a lot of people in the space.
Like, okay, I get if maybe that was a person who actually likes that thing, but ugh, the cringe!
This was a repetitive pattern. Unfortunately, it took one document to inspire others to come out with their stories. Tora released his own document where he acknowledged some wrongdoing whilst disputing parts of the allegations, but he would say in the same document he was ultimately going to graduate, unlike some of the other VTubers I've mentioned would wipe everything and leave the internet. There is a lot more to this story and what Tora did. This was a basic summary of that. If you want a full look into it, there's a good video by Safira Denoma on it, which helped me with this.
People who play Mercy are not being...
Let me know in the comments if you want me to react to her video too.
Even remotely respected. I'm not saying, oh, you need to respect us. It's a matter of, we're not even being treated as a human being right now.
Evie was someone that previously used to be a fleshy and was a well-known Overwatch streamer, but they would eventually become a VTuber while still primarily creating Overwatch content. They were fairly well known in the Overwatch space, and they were even occasionally recognised by the creators of Overwatch, Blizzard, in one instance getting invited to test out the abysmal dogshit that was Overwatch 2 before
yeah, oh god, Overwatch 2 before they lost the number.
Launch, and after getting this privilege, even they shat on it. They were also known for being a highly skilled Mercy player on top of being very open about their identity as a trans woman, where she would regularly talk about her experience with being trans in the Overwatch space.
Okay, yep, not a big deal. We're gonna continue forward from there.
Overall, they were a well-known and somewhat respected member of the Overwatch community. However, in the current day, their reputation is anything but respected.
Oh god, what happened?
Cracks started to show in 2022 where Eve's girlfriend at the time, Raymay, had allegations of cheating in Overwatch games, being racist, and supposedly talking explicitly to those underage.
Yuck.
Now, none of these initial claims are well documented because Raymay wasn't as well known, and in the aftermath everything was deleted, so it's hard to track down anything related to this.
As they do.
But what apparently happened is Raymay gets called out on Twitter, Eve gets involved defending her, saying
okay, because, you know, if they're dating, of course they're gonna try and defend each other.
The person doing this is only doing this to provide a quote-unquote gotcha moment. Her girlfriend only cheated in one game whilst she was off her meds and blackout drunk. And
oh, congratulations, you just confirmed she was cheating.
The DMs leaked of them supposedly talking to those underage were all fake. Once again, this situation wasn't well documented, but it would get brought up again in January of 2023, where Raymay was exposed again for doing the same things, or the same story as before was being reiterated, it's unclear, but there were actually some archived screenshots of this conversation.
I don't even want to know.
And once again, Eve would go on the defense for her girlfriend, but this time it was collectively agreed that this defense was absolutely terrible, because her excuse for why her girlfriend did these things was because it was a coping mechanism.
Coping mechanism for fucking what?
Yeah. The only way someone would believe that was if you had some Saul Goodman-like lawyer skills, or if you had the ability to...
I'm sorry, not even Saul Goodman can save you from that.
Jedi mind trick someone into believing you. But obviously this did not work, and both Rei-Mei and Eve would understandably receive a lot of backlash and see a major hit to their reputation, as this was the primary thing they were known for around this time. Probably after seeing this and seeing the internet wasn't on her side, Eve would make a twit longer, taking a different stance compared to previously, where she would condemn her girlfriend's actions, claiming they are no longer in a relationship, and she would claim she condoned this behaviour because she herself wasn't in the best headspace and wanted to see the best in people, and finally that she should have took people's advice, but that she will change to make sure this doesn't happen again. This response obviously didn't do much of anything. Her reputation was completely in the toilet at this point.
I mean, so far, it seems like that they're mostly in trouble for protecting their girlfriend, even though they were heavily in the wrong. But other than that, what did they themselves do, is my question.
But it was about to get 10 times worse.
I guess I should have just let it keep going!
Because a few days later, a 31-page document would be released not on Rei-Mei's actions this time, but on Eve's. This included testimonies and statements from at least 6 people, several of which were previous partners.
Yep, here we go!
Now there are a lot of allegations in this document, but just to list a few, it said they had a pattern of cheating involving multiple relationships. It was said they were emotionally abusive, manipulative, and regularly baited. They were also said to be hypersexual to the point where they would peer pressure or violate consent. And finally, that they themselves was talking inappropriately to those underage.
Sometimes I wonder why people block out these certain words. I know that they're really bad, but is it really that much of an algorithm killer?
That is just a few of the allegations against them. There are a lot more in the full document, but with this document being released, people are now looking towards Eve to see how she would respond. Would she deny all of this and claim her innocence, or even provide counter evidence?
My bet? Zip. Nothing. At least I'm all. If you're smart, you zip it and just shut up.
To prove them wrong? No, she wouldn't really do anything. She said she was going to respond, but then apparently decided nah, she's not going to, and just deleted or privated a lot of her content, and then...
I mean, what else can you really do, right?
Left the internet, and one of the only things left behind would be people responding to her statement. So the last story I wanted to go over is one that I don't think has been looked into much.
I know I haven't heard any of these names.
Primarily because this happened in Japan, so there's a language barrier when looking at the articles discussing it. On top of the fact this happened some time ago and there's been no new updates, and it involves VTubers that were rather small. Also, the evidence that this ties to the VTuber community isn't exactly concrete, so take it with a grain of salt. And just to warn you, I am about to discuss some graphic things, so...
I swear to God, if you're about to get more ASMR cringe stuff in our voices...
Viewer discretion is advised. But who is this VTuber? Well, it's not just one, it's two, a male and a female, and behind their VTuber...
So a few nice couple VTubing groups. There was one I really like that unfortunately they broke up and they had to end it. But you know, there was a few that I really did like out there.
Being Persona, these two were actually married. These VTubers were...
That's straight. That's pretty interesting.
Akura Zakura, who was 27 at the time.
Unfortunately, I know the position that we are in, so we know that very nice is about to turn like, oh, very bad very soon.
And his wife, Al Kumamasha, who was 28. I'm just gonna call them Kura and Al because I can't pronounce their names for shit.
Can't exactly blame you.
Now, these two weren't your normal VTubers. They were known as VTweeters, where instead of live streaming or creating videos like normal VTubers, they were known to only tweet on the Twitter or X platform.
Ah, like one of those infinite debut sites.
Hence the name VTweeter, and their form of content was normally just posting about their lives and occasionally something about their character. Kuro, the male in the relationship, even had his own lore, where he was a fox spirit that had fallen into darkness betrayed by his best friend, resulting in him making a contract with a certain alchemist.
You know, by this time, these kind of things are getting kind of old to actually see. They're starting to get very uncreative. I don't know about you.
The alchemist being his wife, the VTuber Al, who posted the same things her husband did, usually things about her day. She didn't really have any lore to her character.
Would it be crazy if they weren't actually a couple and they were all just one person?
It seemed to her husband was a lot more into it than her, but they would occasionally LARP together talking about the darkness, how there's nothing they can do about it, and how he's like Schrodinger's cat, which is a thought experiment involving the quantum
Wow, we're gonna get a dive into Schrodinger's cat. Okay, nice.
superposition principle where something can exist in multiple states at once. But for the clinically brain dead like me, I probably explained that wrong. I'm pretty sure he's just trying to say he's two things at once, like Schrodinger's cat was dead and alive.
Yeah, that's usually how it's supposed to be meant, even though it was meant to be like a quantum physics joke, because there's no really real way to tell what's actually going on. But typically the cat ends up dead anyways.
Now these two seemed like a normal couple, both enjoying this as a hobby. Kuro was working a job that I assume from what he said was working on a farm, and Al was also working whilst trying to find work as an illustrator. From the outside, it seemed like their lives, although heavily work-focused, was somewhat ordinary and satisfactory for them, and it was about to see a big change as Al was now expecting a child, of which they were both happy to announce.
Oh, congratulations!
However,
What happened?
But even if everything appeared normal on the outside, things would quickly change to a more sinister turn around August of 2021.
Because of course it is.
Because even though their relationship appeared happy on the outside, in reality it was anything but.
I'm getting a little concerned.
The husband was talking to another woman who was an 18-year-old high school student named Kana Washina, who some have claimed was also a VTuber, but the sources cited show an account that was active in 2023, which wouldn't make sense with what happened next. Now, Kuruma was in contact with this girl for 2 years. Was he cheating? It was never stated, but his wife knew he had contact with her, and
that's usually just enough in some cases.
Because they would speak so much, the wife became extremely jealous. She eventually reached her
oh no, I don't like where this is going.
boiling point in 2021, where to resolve the issue, both the married couple and Kana agreed to meet and sort things out.
Oh no, I definitely don't like where this is going.
On the 28th of August, Kana would leave her family home, telling her parents she was meeting her friends and would be back soon.
I definitely I don't like where this is going.
But when she didn't return that night, her parents would alert the police. Shortly after alerting the police, days later, Kana's body was found on a remote property. She had been strangled with a rope and stabbed multiple times.
God damn it.
Both Kuro or Sohei Komori and his wife Al or Izumi Komori would be arrested and questioned.
この事件は東京墨田区の高校3年鷲野花夏さんの遺体を山梨県内の物置小屋に遺棄したとして群馬県に住む小森章平容疑者と妻の泉容疑者が逮捕されたものです。
Now, when Kana left that day to meet them, there was a conversation where the wife wanted her to no longer contact her husband, but for some reason that is not explained in any of the articles I found, this conversation quickly soured and the wife was not happy. This resulted in the couple taking her against her will to their house where they would begin planning what to do with her, with them in an interview saying, and I quote, "We searched for a place to kill her."
Oh, great.
They decided to take her to a remote property where they would kill her and then dump her body, and she would be found a few days later. Both would be found guilty. The husband would get 23 years in prison, even though the prosecution argued it should be 25, and the wife would only get 18 years because it was said she played a secondary role in the murder. Now, it isn't documented why they decided to murder her after the conversation. They could have just gone their separate ways.
You know, there's a lot of crimes that probably could have been avoided if they did that. But here we are.
But the Japanese police think it was because the conversation regarding the relationship was going nowhere. Personally, I think, yes, this is coming from a professional idiot and from complete speculation, but I think the husband, despite his wife's wishes, didn't want to cut contact and instead just decided to kill her. But once again, that's just my speculation. But how do we know that this is the VTubers we spoke about earlier? Well, people on 5chan would supposedly find their names tied to the VTubing account, and after both were arrested, their accounts would go inactive on the same day.
I mean, that's pretty convincing evidence.
Not only that, but another VTuber that did a stream with the wife released a statement saying he's distancing himself from them after the news broke.
I would hope so.
And after this, both of their Twitter accounts would be bombarded with comments regarding the situation. That is all I could find in terms of people connecting the accounts, and in my opinion, I think it's the same people, but once again, take it with a grain of salt.
I mean, if you haven't heard of anything from the two since then, I mean, it's pretty convincing evidence to me.
The husband is estimated to be released in 2044, and his wife is estimated to be released in 2039. That's only 13 years from the time of this video.
Jeez. Conclusion. People are crazy. Watch out who you're talking to on the internet.
So in conclusion, those are some of the most infamous VTubers. Obviously, some included are significantly worse than the others I talked about, and there are probably a lot more unpleasant stories out there that I didn't talk about. But VTubing, as I said at the start, has got to the point where it's mainstream and more accessible than ever before.
I mean, all you need is a model and VTube Studio, boom, and you're on your way. Shoot, I even made my own PNG model. It's a piece of crap, but it works, and hey, it was a thing. Maybe I'll show it to you one day. I'm sure if you look back at my tweets, you'll find it. But you'll definitely see it if you take a look at my old Castlevania Let's Plays. But oh dear God, it's a saturation factor of upteenth amount.
Meaning that even the most deplorable of people can become or claim to be a VTuber and gain an audience, which can also be said for anyone that makes content on the internet. And we are probably gonna see a lot more stories like these regarding VTubers, though hopefully not on the levels as some I've mentioned.
God, we can only hope not.
However, VTubing is still a form of media that isn't going away anytime soon. And despite the VTubers I've shown you today,
I mean, it's pretty much the modern international pop idol thing, you know?
There are probably 10 times more that are the very opposite. That just entertain and interact with the VTubing space in one form or another. Not every VTuber is the same as another, especially Chibidoki. That thing cannot be replicated. I'm now going to
Yep, that is the definition of the gremlin VTuber.
go listen to the new Teto song on repeat. Yes, I just put you on an absolute masterpiece of a song. Thank me later. And just quickly, I have to remind you that your favourite VTuber has a significant other, including the one watching this. But yep, that's all I had to say, and bye-bye.
Oh, nice. Oh dear God. Yeah, that was a nice call out to the reactors that are probably also going to be watching this, I'm sure. Well, those were some stories. So yeah, if you are trying to get into the VTuber space, you can definitely do it. I just advise doing it cautiously and don't try to invest too hard into it. Start off small, build your own audience slowly, and for the love of God, avoid doing anything stupid. At least the dangerous kinds of stupid that's not worth putting on content. But hey, I thank you very much for watching this. This was a sad trip. If you enjoyed it all, I hope you'll leave a like. If you have any comments you would like to share with me, please do. And please do subscribe to help build my community and follow along more in the future. I thank you very much for watching again, and I hope you live life to the max. I'm out. Bye.